Eboso. She is the founder of Rusinga Festival. So guys, if you're looking for plan, you're thinking, oh my God, I need to, do something unique for the holidays with my friends and my family, this is the spot for you to be at. When is it going down, by the way? When is it kicking off?
On 18th and 19th December.
Nice.
We've maintained since inception. We've always happened on the last Thursday and Friday before Christmas.
Yeah.
So this year it happens to be on the 18th and 19th.
Good stuff. Ebu, now give us vibes. What are we expecting? Because I know over the years you keep on evolving and updating it in terms of, the experience. What are some of the unique things that folks should be looking out for this time?
So we have those experiences that are constant.
Yeah.
Like if you want to experience our food, different food, then that is the place to be.
Yeah.
If you want to experience our cultural performances from Subaland and the wider Lake region and from beyond Kenya, also come to the festival. It's a vibe. You get to experience all this.
Yeah.
We have storytelling. We have children activities. So we have a reading series for children because you're trying to nurture them when they're still young. So we have stories for them. They read books, and we also take them to tour some of the like the Ruma National Park, which is in Homa Bay County. So they get to experience also some of these national landscapes and parks that we have. There are a lot of sites to visit in Rusinga Island and in the neighboring islands and in the wider Suba region. So from Rusinga Island, you can go to Takawiri Island, you can go to Birds Island, which has very many species of birds. Then you get to Mfangano Island, where there is a Basuba Peace Museum, and there are rock arts that are dating back to over 3,000 years back. You can go to Gwasi to visit the site of the famous Nyamgodo. That, if you remember the story where a woman was fished out of the lake, and then...
Oh, like a mermaid?
Yeah. She wasn't a mermaid, really.
What?
But then when she got married, there are some things that she had told the husband not to do.
Yeah.
But when the husband did them, she got mad and went back to the lake. And every other thing that she'd come with from the lake went back with her. So, the goats, chicken.
She got mad and then went back with all of the things to the lake. In gear and disappeared. No way. That's amazing.
So those are some of the, folklore stories you get to interact with. And then, of course, our traditional sports. So, the boat racing. Oh, it has.
I can't wait.
It's like our headliner sport event.
Yeah.
So, and this has participation from both men and women. So you can imagine women rowing the boat and participating in the boat racing. It's so amazing.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there is the wrestling. Oh, the wrestling.
Yeah, for real?
Yeah.
It's a popular one too, yeah?
Yes, it's a popular one too. And then there is the board games, and then there is the tug of war competitions. So there is literally, we've tried to capture different parts, different facets of intangible cultural heritage, just using the festival as our way of trying to safeguard that for the Suba community.
I like stories. You also mentioned that you're a storyteller. And what are some of the most powerful stories that you've heard, as feedback from people who actually attended the festival? Maybe it could be a member of the community or a community in itself, part of the community. They're like, hey, and this festival, it meant to change my share too, it could be some artists who got to perform, and because of that, maybe they got a gig. What are some of those powerful stories that you got as feedback from the people who attended the festival?
First of all, I'm not a storyteller. I am a story consumer. I love stories. I consume a lot of stories.
Because I usually hang out with a lot of storytellers.
Yes, I love stories. And stories are beautiful.
What? You actually thought you told me you were a storyteller as well. So no problem.
Because,
It's okay.
Thought I was a storyteller.
I know, it's all good. It's the outfit.
Maybe. But then, actually, for this one, I'll not even say what someone has said.
Yeah.
I'll just say in terms of action.
Yeah.
Producing a festival of this magnitude requires a lot of resources, and sometimes we get a shortfall. We don't have enough resources to do this. So, like last year, for example, which is a very special year because Rusinga Festival was turning a teenager. Literally celebrating the 13th edition. But we didn't have enough resources to pull it off, and people kept on asking us, when is a festival? But then we were like, how do we say there's a festival and there are no resources for it? And people kept on pushing, no, the festival has to happen. So when we started telling people, like, by the way, we have not gotten resources, and people were telling us, this is our festival. We can contribute to the resources of it. We can contribute to
for the people by the people.
For the people by the people. And actually, the end product of it was we got a lot of people coming in just to to enrich the festival with the very limited resources. And this was right from the performers, from the, the community, and they also showed up in numbers. So for me, that is a great story, because when people thought, and we had to scale it down to a day, and even the amount of feedback we got on our emails, we got on our social media platform, everybody was saying, this should not happen ever again. This is our festival, and there is no way it can be scaled down because of resources while we are here. So we felt the love in terms of that from the community, and not just the Rusinga Island community, the community all over Kenya. So we felt that love. So I feel that is a beautiful story.
I like that. And, obviously there's modern influences. We're living in a global village, right? So how do you balance, modern influences and having traditional elements of the Rusinga festival, right? How do you make the, both facets play out visually?
Modernity is not bad. Modernity has also its good elements, because the thing about culture, it's not static. It does not just remain there. It's always constantly moving. And when something is constantly moving, there is room for evolution. I know you talked about evolution a little bit earlier on. There is room for evolution, and there is room for adaptation. So I see modernity as coming in as an aspect. What is it that we can use in the modern world to safeguard what we are also trying to protect of our past? So we are trying to see, how do you use our present to protect our past while factoring in what the future will look like? And some aspects of modernity include, like, for example, information technology, the internet, and the likes. But you see, this has made it much easier to document what would have happened in the past. For example, stories that are being told, we are now able to document them, and this makes it easier for the future generation to be able to look back and see, this is the kind of stories that people in this age were consuming, while we in this particular era might not be able to understand what are some of the stories that were passed on, because there was no recording of sorts for that. So I see it now as the modern part. I see it as more of borrowing areas for adaptation, and then trying to use that to preserve what you're trying to do without really altering what it is. And then again, this can coexist together peacefully.
How important is it for folks to actually document the heritage and, stories from the past, and, try and, of course, preserve some of our, cultures, whether it's true stories from our grandparents, the Nini, because, some of our kids, like the Gen Alpha, the Gen Zs, when they engage you, like, for example, that story of that mama who went back to the lake, they think it's just a myth, but maybe it actually happened. But for real, why is it important for us to document all these things?
It's important because history is important. You cannot know where you're going if you don't know where you're coming from. So at every point in our lifetime, history will always be important. So it's important to have this told. And then we had a lot of, in the olden days, we had a lot of oral tradition, and that is how our knowledge was being passed down from one generation to the next. And this generation was not just about stories. It was about other facets of life, like, for example, agricultural practices.
It's true.
How are we planting our, how do we ensure, like, we maximize on the food we are going to get and things like that. It was even in information or knowledge around the climate change, for example. It's a big issue now. But then we had rainmakers back then, and who would know and who would advise the community when was the right time to plant. It was the planting season, harvesting season, and a lot of this. So this knowledge is knowledge that is, cuts across all sectors. Look at even in healthcare, like the traditional medicine, for example. And this is knowledge that is being passed down and say, like, if you have stomach ache, this is the kind of medicine you need to take, and a lot of that. So when you have a lot of this information being passed down, we become all-rounded in terms of not just one part of our life, because it's affecting different parts of our life. So it's important to have this kind of information, because it also helps in the future inventions or interventions, if there'll be any. So it's important.
You mentioned traditional medicine. Do we have the Ajuogas over there? You know, because this is part of our tradition. Yeah, are they gonna be there as well to showcase their skills? I'm sure they're part and parcel of the traditional elements of Rusinga Island and the people of the Suba community. Do you have the witch doctors?
People tend to confuse medicine men and witch doctors. So medicine men, actually, they provide, the herbs for treating different ailments and all that. But then witchcraft is a totally...
No, but it wasn't like witchcraft. But witchcraft was not like a bad thing.
Yeah, bad thing,
People used to regularly go to like such and such. If you have problems, you can't sleep. You know what I mean? You feel like your family even a mashida. You want a certain witch doctor to do all these juju things on your family. Me, I'm looking forward to a festival where we're actually going to have a room over there. Mandikwa Matara. Go to that room in there and they'll pray for you. Anyway, I don't know. It's all jokes aside. But don't you think that would be good? Now, let me ask you something. All jokes aside. What are some of the challenges that you faced, coming up with this festival? And, obviously, all through the years, what are some of those, nuanced challenges that you're still facing?
The greatest challenge of running a festival, it doesn't matter the magnitude of a festival, whether it's small, big, it's always the resources. And for resources, mostly we're talking about money.
Yeah.
Because most of the resources that are in terms of the programming, these are much easier to solve than the monetary aspect of it. So this has been the greatest challenge throughout. We always find a way, we're always struggling to navigate through this, but it still remains a challenge.
Yeah.
And this would probably be the greatest challenge, because then it also makes you not be able to implement different kind of programming that you'd hope for.
Yeah.
It makes you not to have regular programming that you'd hope for. Like if you wanted to do a lot of this safeguarding mechanism on a regular basis, like on a monthly basis, and you don't have the finances to do that, it's a tall order. And then the other thing that comes up in it's this is not a space where only one party can come in.
Sure.
So it needs effort from different stakeholders to make it a success. So we are constantly trying to get more different stakeholders, but the largest funding, the largest challenge has always been the funding aspect.
Yeah. Have you ever gotten to a point where you questioned the festival's sustainability and relevance? Paki, you're like, you know what? Akunaja. You know what? Let me just go back to corporate lifestyle. This one, it's beyond me. Yeah. And how did you overcome those concerns?
Those concerns, resources will always make you question that. And you're like saying, because when you are running a festival of this magnitude, it's always, a lot of sweating. People don't know what's happening behind the scenes. Just trying to piece this together, trying to get everything to work out together. So it's always, it's a journey.
Yeah.
And some of the times you get this question like, so how do we do it when we don't have the resources to do it? The body, the spirit, and everything else, the community is willing, but the resources for it are not available. So what do you do? So one such challenge is, I mentioned we had such a challenge last year, and because traditionally we've been a 2-day festival, we scaled it down to 1 day. And we said like, okay, let's still do this edition, provide the same vibe we're always providing, create the same vibe you're always providing, and provide the community with a place where they can convene for just the social cohesion of it, and then scale it down to a 1 day, which is definitely cheaper to handle than a 2-day festival.
Oh, so now it's no longer 2 days.
No, it's 2 days. We are back to 2 days. Okay. We got a lot of the community walitusalamia sana.
Yeah.
You can't have a 1 day.
I like how you always mention the community. Yeah, so there's actually places where, there's places where guys can go and, spend the night.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, there is a lot of, when you come to Rusinga Island, there are lots of hotels within Rusinga Island.
Yeah.
So you can consider it as an holiday destination.
Yeah.
And you get all these experiences. And, the different places are available for people who have different budget types.
Yeah.
So it's really a very accommodative island in terms of apart from just the people being a loving people and people who are just love people and who are generally accepting of different communities within that come from different parts of the country, Rusinga Festival is a place to be.
I bet it is. So let's take a short break, and then when we come back, we'll wrap up the conversation. Guys, we've got the founder of Rusinga Festival. She goes by the name of Anne Iboso, and we're talking all things there you go. Rusinga Festival as a vehicle for cultural revival. Yeah, I almost forgot. It's all about reclaiming identity. Right now, it's 8:01. Good evening.
102.5 Spice FM, Kisumu.